You know, we all follow some kind of story in our lives, a narrative that kind of shapes every choice we make. But what if you could actually choose a more powerful one? This explainer is all about a pretty radical philosophical blueprint for self-mastery, a way to stop just fixing what's old and start building something totally new.
It really all boils down to this one fundamental choice, a fork in the road between two completely different life stories. And how you answer this choice, well, it defines your entire approach to every challenge, to your own growth, and really, to what a meaningful life even is.
And these two paths, they couldn't be more different. On one hand, you've got the one we all know, the hero's journey, the healer. Think of it like a nice, comfortable circle. The hero goes out, faces some external crisis, and then comes back to restore balance. The whole point is to heal the community. But on the other side, you've got the creator's path, the trailblazer. And this is no circle. It's a steep, tough climb, often alone. The goal isn't to fix things, it's to create brand new values. And the biggest enemy isn't out there, it's inside you.
Now, the critique of the hero's journey is pretty intense. It's called a saccharine poison, basically a story that feels sweet and comforting but is actually a trap. Why? Because its ultimate goal is to lead you right back to the safety of the herd. It encourages you to fit in, not to become a truly revolutionary, independent creator.
So, if you choose the creator's path, the game completely changes. It's no longer about going out and slaying some monster in the world. No, it becomes an internal war against these powerful psychological forces that are always trying to pull you back down.
On this path, you have to face three main opponents, or let's call them inner dragons. First, there's the shadow. That's that little voice in your head whispering, "Come on, just take the easy way out." Then there's the Soothsayer. This is the external voice of cynicism, all those people telling you your efforts are pointless. And finally, the big one, the main boss, the spirit of gravity.
The spirit of gravity is the chief opponent for a reason. Imagine a squat dwarf sitting on your shoulders, just making everything feel heavy. That's what this is. It's that deep, soul-crushing feeling of futility. It's the weight of resignation that insists real change is impossible and that your biggest dreams are just too heavy to even try and carry.
And you know what the spirit of gravity whispers? It's the ultimate lie of the status quo. This is just the way things are. It sounds so simple, right? But that one little phrase is powerful enough to trap people in resignation forever, convincing them that forging their own path just isn't in the cards.
But here's the thing. If you can conquer these inner dragons, you get to the breakthrough. You reach the summit of the mountain, a turning point of just absolute clarity and total affirmation, a moment called the Great Midday.
The Great Midday is such a powerful symbol. It's this moment of perfect, blinding clarity where the sun is directly overhead and there are literally no shadows. There's no room for doubt, no room for illusion. It's called the New Year of the Soul, and it signifies the birth of the Übermensch, a completely self-mastered individual who creates their own values from scratch. Now, getting to that summit isn't easy. It requires three, heroic acts. First, you have to cast off the spirit of gravity. Second, you have to embrace what's called eternal recurrence. This is the ultimate test. It's asking yourself, would you willingly live your exact life, every joy, every pain, over and over again for all eternity? And finally, you have to commit to a new will, the will to power, which in this case means the relentless drive for mastery over yourself.
And from that summit, you get this triumphant cry, "I am a yay-sayer." It's a complete rejection of wanting an easy life. Instead of wishing for comfort, the creator chooses to embrace struggle, to embrace challenges, because that's what makes you stronger. It's about affirming every single part of your existence, no holding back. And right at that moment, at the Great Midday, this new, integrated self is forged, and it's represented by two incredible living symbols, the eagle and the serpent. Now, these aren't just some pretty, poetic images, okay? The eagle and the serpent are described as living symbols. They represent two essential, complementary virtues that absolutely must be fused together to achieve real self-mastery. You can't just have one without the other. So let's break this down. On one side, you've got the eagle. This is all about soaring, pride, high aspirations, that far-seeing vision that lets you rise above mediocrity. It's the perfect antidote to that feeling of futility we talked about. But vision alone is just daydreaming, right? So you also need the serpent. The serpent represents earthy wisdom, Cunning practicality, that grounded intelligence you need to actually make your vision happen in the messy real world. So, when you finally bring these two together, the vision of the eagle and the wisdom of the serpent, that's when the final transformation happens. You enter a new and incredibly dynamic way of being in the world.
And this right here is the heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't to choose between being a dreamer or being a pragmatist. The goal is to fuse them into a higher unity. Ambition is made effective by cunning, and cunning is given a noble purpose by ambition. One without the other is completely powerless.
This all leads to a profound choice about your very nature. Are you going to be like the moon, just passively reflecting the light and the values of other people? Or are you going to become like the sun, a radiant source that actively creates its own value and gives its own light to the world?
And this final form, it's called the dancer. After finally shedding that crushing weight of the spirit of gravity, the dancer moves through life not with a heavy burden, but with lightness, joy, and total creative freedom. They're not just thinking about life anymore. They are actively and joyfully living it. So this whole explainer leaves us with a really big question to think about. In our world, right here, right now, which path do you think is more vital? Do we need more healers, people who can restore balance and mend what's broken, or do we desperately need more trailblazers, people brave enough to shatter old ways of thinking and create something entirely new?